Similarly, we met last week. We talked about some of the challenges you were having with open houses, engaging with people, having the right conversation to have them to commit to working with you, but demonstrating value.
Yes.
That's what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
What is the big problem that you have today that we'd be talking about?
Well, I know this is kind of cliche, but just get more clients. So I signed the one person yesterday.
You did?
Kristen. I did.
What do you mean you signed?
She signed the buyer tenant agreement.
Oh, she did?
Yes, so she's my client.
Excellent.
So the biggest question after that was, how do I get more clients?
Okay.
Per month.
Okay.
That would sign the agreement with me and
Okay.
then eventually close with me. And how do
Okay.
That's,
So you
that's
want
just
to.
been my biggest question since she signed yesterday.
Fair enough. So it's what you got one success.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get more people to get success with you?
Yeah, or like the consistency.
Give me a little bit of background about this client. Where did you meet her? What was the process you followed?
Okay, so we met her from the Facebook group Leaving California.
Oh, Chris, the one from.
The one that we
Got it.
when we had the meeting with her.
Oh yes.
Yesterday,
So she's the one who signed the buyer agreement. Wow.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and so
How was the meeting when you took her to Sienna? How did that go?
Oh, she loved it.
She loved Sienna?
Oh, she loved it.
Good.
So Amore advised me to go to the model home park.
Yes.
Because we did check out 2 homes. It wasn't for her.
Yeah.
The model home park further down was actually really helpful for her, and helped her realize a lot of things that she didn't realize before.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it really helped her.
Makes sense. So let's actually talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
This was a Facebook lead that we got from a Facebook group, Leaving California, and this person reached out to me that I'm moving from California to Texas. Can you assist? I spoke to her on the phone. You were in the room as well at that time. We got some details.
Yep.
Next day, she came to the office with her boyfriend. So walk me through what were key takeaways in the interaction we had with her when she came to the office. What did you take away? Because before you shared, she came a little bit early.
She did.
Right?
Yep.
And I was ready for the meeting at, I think, 2 o'clock, but she came a little bit early.
Sure.
And you were with her. So I walked past when you were discussing something.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through what were your takeaways. What value did she see in working with you on that day?
I think the research that we did prior to meeting with her was very helpful.
What kind of research?
Research on subdivisions, things that, so she's looking for an area with good schools,
right.
And then, homes that had this particular style, and things like that. And so I liked how we were prepared for, to show her a couple neighborhoods around Houston, not just this one area, but around Houston.
So here's a differentiating factor.
Mm-hmm.
You had done some research, studied about different neighborhoods, and learned about them. Do you think I spent any time preparing for that meeting?
No.
Nope. I just walked in.
Yeah.
Right? And started engaging, talking with them. So the perception was they thought we had spent a lot of time researching, analyzing, finding the right neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Which you had because you're still learning about it.
Sure.
But I came in just with the knowledge base I have.
Right.
So first key takeaway is that at all times, we've got to know what's happening in the market, what neighborhoods offer, what they don't offer, so that when clients reach out to us, I want to do this, I want to do that, we don't waste time in researching, just refreshing. Difference. Researching and refreshing is different. When I've done the research about our area, about our neighborhood, now I say somebody to pull the trigger today, I'll refresh my research as to what new listings have come on the market, what has changed since my last research, okay? But for that meeting, I had enough knowledge base of Sienna, of the other areas, that I could pivot in any direction, okay? So being prepared was important.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I agree, because I was going to comment too that you did walk in, you already knew what to say, but I know that it's going to take, it's a practice makes perfect.
Correct.
So you can be consistent at that.
Correct.
Well.
What were the other things that you observed in that meeting?
Just guiding her, because I know that. So I can tell in the conversation she wanted to look at the design of the houses, but then she did mention like schools are important. I have kids, and then I need a yard and things like that. So you guided the conversation to focus on the school, because that was very important.
Right.
And I felt that it was more important versus looking at, and then the aesthetics were important after.
Right.
Okay. I mean, they're still up there.
Correct.
It's just the schools were like
But
this.
also in the discussion, Maddie, what we did was we brought up the fact that we had Harvey in Houston a few years back.
Yeah.
Certain areas flooded.
Mhm.
Then we talked about safety in neighborhoods, gated communities.
Yes.
So I was basically throwing some things at her and gauging what's of a lot of concern to her,
Oh, yeah.
right? Because I can talk about schools for 30 minutes. I can talk about flooding for 30 minutes,
Yeah.
but
If they
I'm
don't
not
get
sure
it, sure.
what's important, not important to them.
Mhm.
So while she was talking about, because when I walked in the meeting, you were already looking at some homes that she had seen with her boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
That was giving the idea what they like, what they don't like.
Yeah.
But I do not know which pillar I gotta pick. Is it about the greenery in the neighborhood? Is it about safety? Is it about school? So initially I was gauging where they were at. She wanted to talk a whole lot. My home has to have this. In my mind, it's not important to me right now.
Yeah, see, that's what I got too.
Yeah. I don't care what you like about the home.
Yeah.
I gotta first find the neighborhood,
Yes.
right? The age profile of the home that you're okay with buying, 20-year-old or newer home.
Sure.
Then what's important to you? Amenities, school zoning, safety, flooding. See, then I'm funneling down.
Right.
And the last thing would be aesthetics of the home, the features of the home,
Right.
the high ceiling and all that stuff. Because those options are available everywhere.
Sure.
Everywhere. Here's the most common mistake realtors make. They take a backward approach. What I mean by that is, I want a home with 4 bedrooms, high ceiling, modern style, contemporary countertops, all that stuff. And realtors find those specific homes for them.
Mhm.
Okay? Oh, I found this home, I found this home, I found this home. Well, you're finding a home, you're tunnel visioned. Okay? If that home does not work for them because price too high or not the right neighborhood, then you're always looking for that perfect home, perfect home, perfect home, perfect home. But if I find the ideal neighborhood, ideal profile, age profile of home, then my bucket is much bigger, my vision is much bigger, and then I zero in on something. So it's a complete different approach where she was leading the meeting when I walked in into that's the home, that's the home, that's the home I like, right? And I had to pull her back, get a big picture idea about the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Did that kind of make sense to you?
Absolutely. So because in my previous coaching and previous brokerages, they always ask, they always say, okay, remember you have to ask who, what, where, when, why, right? But actually, what you're saying is start with where, and then who, and then what, and that actually goes down. It gets slimmer because of detail.
Correct. But also when we were on the call with her on Monday on the phone, she mentioned I loved Woodlands, right?
Yes.
Now I asked her, what did you like about it? What is that about you loved?
Yeah.
And she said the greenery. I said, okay, I have a data point. The greenery is important to her. But when she came in, she also said, I like separation of homes, them further apart. I want more greenery.
Sure.
Well, then quickly we knew that Siena would be a good option.
Yeah.
Because it has a great neighborhood, a lot of diversity, great schools. So almost we had to redirect her in that direction.
Yeah.
One other key thing I said in the meeting was, you came in to see us where you have fallen in love with a specific neighborhood or area, which is Woodlands. It's so much easier for us to direct you and validate your decision and help you buy there.
Yeah.
But what I said to her and boyfriend was, well, if I can easily do that, I'd rather have you evaluate all the other options. In the end, if you come back and say Woodlands still makes sense, by all means we will do that. What would average realtor do? You love Woodlands? Let me show you homes in Woodlands.
Stay in the Woodlands, right? So
big shift, because we are not realtors, Marilee. We are not realtors. We are financial advisors. Okay, a financial advisor will evaluate every opportunity, find the one that has more long-term financial success for the client. Same thing real estate. It's not about the home anymore, right? Yeah. And I shared with you that while you're working with this client, you'll be forced into doing research about Cyprus, about Siena, about Missouri City. And once you research that, when you meet with the 4th or 5th or 10th client, this, what we did in that room that day, would be just automatic. Automatic. So tell me again, top 3 things that you took away from that meeting.
Top 3?
Yep.
Just the guidance, and then that's 1. So guiding the conversation, and then funneling, which is 2. And then 3 was kind of zeroing in to an area, and then to maybe a type of house, new construction. construction or whatever.
Yep.
And the details were finalized.
So if you are directing a client and they're flexible, they're open to it, and they just want a home, certain price range, you have an option of selling them a resale home or a new construction home. Which one has better merit for the client and why?
For better
value.
better value.
In your opinion, what should they consider?
I mean, it depends. So
Okay.
if the new construction, it's a new home, so everything that they get in the home is new. And then resale, it's the home is already there. So a lot of them are turnkey, so you can move into it right away instead of waiting like 6 to 9 months.
So what would you I'm asking a question. You're a realtor.
Yeah.
And I'm a client. Marilee, my budget is $400,000. We can buy this home, resale home, or we can buy this new construction home. What should I do, Marilee? I'm confused.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're.
What should I do?
Okay, well, for new construction, so everything is new, and then when you get with the builder, you have options to pick your style, what you can put in the home, and then it is a longer timeline, but it is yours. You are the first person that moves into that home.
Okay.
Now for resale,
you know what? When I bought my last car, I buy a brand new car, you pay such a big premium. A slightly used car, I get such a great value. So why not buy? Isn't that a better deal to get something which is slightly used, like a resale home versus a new home?
No, because your home is it's an investment.
Pause. That's the road. That's a curve I'll throw at you.
Yeah.
What you should say is, cars are a depreciating asset. Real estate is an appreciating asset. You cannot compare the two together. It's not apple to apple comparison.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's true. That's
right?
True.
Because they can say, well, I should buy a resale car, so I should buy a resale home. Depreciating asset, appreciating asset, big difference. Okay? So there's no right or wrong answer of Marilee. There's not new construction is the best option or resale is the best option.
Right.
It's basically you probing the client, asking a lot of questions to determine what's best fit for them. And then you objective telling them the pros and cons of each opportunity. Okay? But also within resale, you could have a home that's 2 years old, that's also used, or a home that's 20 years old, right? Both are resale, but one is 2 years, one is 20 years. So when I was role playing with you, you should ask, okay, I understand you're okay with either of them, but it's a certain age profile of home that you're okay with, right? Then they could say big answer, and I'm not too old. What's not too old?
What's not too old? Yeah.
Is it 5 years or 10 years? Well, as long as 10 years. I come from different market. Their homes are 30 years old, 40 years old, right?
Yeah.
So I guess 20-year-old. Well, then you have to educate them. Again, goes back to you being an advisor. Sure. In Texas, homes built after this time, the building code changed, what we discussed in the meeting. Double pane windows, insulation, all those things. So while you may get a great value for a 20-year-old home, in the long run, you lose money from energy bill and all those things. So I would recommend, if we consider resale homes, we should not look at anything that's older than 10 years. Does that make sense? So now you have zeroed in on, not just resale homes, but homes that are in this age profile. Then I would ask the question, so I know you open to both resale home and new construction home. If you find a home that's not perfect for your family, maybe the countertops, flooring is not ideal, would you be open to spending some money after you close? Well, they may say, no, once I buy a home, I'm not going to have any more money because I don't have any money saved. All my savings will go into the purchase.
So then it would be
right? So then potentially, well, then you got to buy a home that all the cost of improvement is built into the home.
Okay, and that's for new construction.
Would come in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when I buy a used home, I get a mortgage, get a loan, close on the home, and now I have to spend $20,000 in improving the home.
Sure.
As a buyer, I may not have that kind of money sitting around to spend the money. Yeah. But if I buy a new construction home and the purchase price is $400, and with the builder, I say, pick the best flooring, pick the best countertops. Now, purchase price has gone from $400 to $420, right? Now, the $20,000 additional expense for the purchase, which is rolled into the loan, may be insignificant increase in the monthly payment, which as a consumer, I'm willing to take on. Big difference. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why when somebody says, I'm open to either, I will probe in more right?
Sure.
And if they say, I don't have any money saved up, so I got to find the perfect home because I won't have money to spend for improvements. Well, in that case, I'm going to tell you right now, there is going to be a compromise.
Yeah.
There's no perfect home in the market. And when I find that for you, it may not be in a price range or budget. So what are you willing to do? Roll in the cost of best improved home into your loan, but have some money to spend in the future. That's a crossroad.
Sure.
Right? They will have to make a decision now.
Uh-huh.
No, I got to find the perfect home. So I have to spend money. You look online, you show them a few homes. There's no perfect home.
Right.
Period. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So asking the right questions and then figuring out the layers behind it, why they're saying it, but then adding a knowledge base expertise that why something makes or does not make sense would zero in on your research area.
Yeah, right.
Is that making sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. What are your other follow-up thoughts?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna laugh about this.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so my previous brokerages,
Uh-huh.
they did. Because I used to ask people, okay, so what year built do you want?
Yeah.
How old do you want this house to be?
Okay.
When you're looking at this resale home, and one of my coaches told me,
Mhm.
oh, that's not a question you ask because it's asking too much. But
Hmm.
it's interesting because you're saying like you need to probe and probe
Yes.
and probe. What do you mean by how old this home is?
Yes.
How the age of
The
this
coaches
home
were
is?
coaching
Yeah.
you. Were they actually producing agents or just coaches?
I mean, they were producing agents.
What was
at
the
one
production?
point. Oh, I don't know what their production.
What-
Because they weren't producing at that point by the time I started with
Okay,
them.
so when they were coaching you, they were just coaches, not producers?
They were coaches, yeah, not
Right.
producing.
Here's the biggest issue in our industry.
Mhm.
Every realtor, whether they sell one home or 100 homes,
Yeah.
they claim themselves to be coaches and mentors.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
Yep. Majority of them who
Yeah.
become coaches for brokerages, their production is not there because the brokerage incentivizes them. Hey, listen,
Right.
you're a rock star. You've been with our brokerage for 10, 20 years. You have all these years of experience. I'm going to bring on realtors into the brokerage, have them come under you, and you coach them. Any home they sell, you get an override of X dollars, X percent.
That's where I was at.
But that person is not a producing agent.
Mm-mm.
They've been disconnected with the market maybe for how many ever years.
Yeah, sure.
The other problem in our business is it's considered a merit-based business. Okay? What I mean by that is I've been a realtor for 5 years. I've been a realtor for 20 years. So I've got all these years. I'm good. Our business is a service-based business, Melody, which means that I don't care how long you've been a realtor, 1 year or 5 or 10 years, unless you are not adding value to the consumer or customer, then I don't care how many years you have, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, we do not have the MLS system or HAR. We had these books, right? Even before I got into business, many, many years back, of all the listings. Well, I depend on the realtor to tell me what's on the market. And everything is online.
Yeah.
Right? So most of these coaches, they're not involved in the real world.
Yeah.
They're not selling home on a daily basis.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. They're not lifetime.
Of course you gotta ask the damn questions.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's probing too much?
Yeah, see, I thought, because I was told, like, just ask questions. Just keep asking questions. And
Yeah.
then, but I didn't realize you can't ask too many questions. Well, you know what I was taught when I was younger?
Yeah.
It's better to ask a dumb question than get a dumb answer.
I agree.
Yeah.
See, when you're asking questions, it's about evaluating what the needs of the customer are so that you don't waste their time and your time in getting to the finish line. So when I meet with clients, I tell them, listen, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? I want to evaluate your needs that I can direct you effectively to get you to the finish line as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
The more we engage, the more I ask, would that be okay with you?
Yeah.
What are they going to say? Sure.
Sure.
Right? But they will be asked questions about, it's not about, tell me, it's about, okay, you shared that with me. She said you want a home with a lot of separation between the neighbors, or you want a big backyard. Why do you want that? Well, we have kids, or we plan on putting a pool, or I want privacy because when I grew up, I had these neighbors overlooking into my home. So now you found the reason why they want that. Well, I'm okay with a resale home or new construction home. They may be coming from Boston, where their homes are 50 years old, so they're okay with a resale home.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
And their 50 is different from our 50 years old.
Yeah, their 50 is our 5 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Age profile of homes is much, much different over here. Okay, so what are your action items for this week?
I mean, continue to ask questions.
Yeah.
And really break it down until I have really good understanding of
Correct.
of every
So I
of
would
the
not have
situation.
you worry too much about how do I create more Christies in your life, have them come and work with you. It will happen.
Mhm.
It will happen. But such meeting that we had earlier on this week is the learning curve that you got to go through.
Yeah.
Okay? The
Yeah.
best way is no matter who you meet, your friends, family members, open house leads, networking event, bring them to me.
Mhm.
You and I will sit down with them, engage with them.
Yeah.
Even if they don't agree to working with you or with us for the transaction, but the interaction will teach you how I probe, how I ask questions, what possible, how I pivot into one or the other direction. Once you see me do that over and over again, that become your own script and dialogue.
Yeah.
So don't stress about I gotta get more buyers. No,
Mhm.
you gotta get more prospects
Yes.
to come and see me and you in the office or on Zoom, that you see me engage with them over and over again. Once you see that happen multiple times, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna become your script, your dialogue.
Yeah.
That sound good?
Yes, that sounds good.
All right.
Thank
That's a great
you.
week. Thank you. Thanks for your time.